Hi everyone, welcome back to our quarterly release series on SAP IBP. We are in the month of May, meaning that SAP has released its 2605 release. So we'll take a look today at what is on the menu, what SAP has introduced for us. I'm Robin working for Flexso, and have a new face with me today.
Hi, I'm Maïté, working at Flexso Supply Chain.
All right, so I suppose that we take a look at what's on the agenda for today. So what do we have on offer for today? We are taking a look at a new functionality that SAP has introduced to facilitate vendor-managed inventory planning in IBP. Next to that, we'll take a look at a new business AI functionality to perform security checks on your system. We will take a look at an enhancement for products and new products forecasting in IBP for demand. And last but not least, we will take a look at the UI, the Planner Workspace, which has been getting some more attention also this release. So with some enhancements, with some innovations that we will also list at the end of this video. So let's take a look at the first functionality, the first new introduction, which is vendor managed inventory in IBP. First of all, what is it all about? Well, vendor managed inventory basically allows you to proactively and tactically plan replenishment on behalf of your key customers. Basically, you get a more accurate view on the stock levels and the stock transfer towards your key customers, where the stock can also be stored. And this basically then helps you in making informed decisions about how to more efficiently distribute goods to your different customers. Of course, when thinking about actively being able to plan these types of inventories and these stock levels at your customer, this has several benefits. First of all, if you have a clear idea on the actual stock levels and you can actively manage those, that will lead to improved customer service levels at your customer-facing locations. Next to that, again, by being able to plan it in a tactical way, by being able to make more informed decisions about these type of transports, you can reach lower transportation costs in total because you can group, for example, transports instead of always actively or reactively having to react to changes or differences in stocks. Next to that, if you have a better idea on the stock at your key customers, this will lead to a total reduced inventory across your network because you will be able to more tactically place the right buffers. And ultimately, in the end, everything will also lead to a lower sales cost. Now, this functionality, vendor managed inventory, is available in IBP order-based planning. So customers working with the order-based planning in IBP, either customers who start with it will have it generally available within the samples, within the best practices from SAP. Customers who are already actively using order-based planning, they can also easily activate this functionality by following the described SAP documentation. By the way, SAP has also created a video about this, giving some more information, giving some realistic examples of how it could work in the system. So if you are interested about this feature and you want to know more, we can kindly navigate you towards the YouTube channel where this is also being described. To further position a bit the topic, I want to just shortly go through the end-to-end process flow of how this vendor-managed inventory planning might work in IBP. So it's an end-to-end process between an ERP system, an ECC or an S4 system, and IBP itself. So everything starts with integrating forecast data, with integrating stock data from an ERP system via cloud integration or via CIDS or via pre-delivered APIs. Then we end up in IBP and we are going to plan for these customer locations. So we are also going to plan stock transfer requisitions for specific products towards these customers. And then is where the planner will start to intervene or will proactively start using these vendor managed inventories. A planner can indicate in the system which STR, which stock transfer requisitions should be relevant for conversions, and then this can be considered in the outbound integration towards an ERP system, where these stock transfer requisitions will be turned into regular sales orders, and they will also be processed as such. So I think in general, or all in all, a nice functionality for customers who are using IBP for order-based planning that can really actively and tactically plan these key customers. So I think it's definitely worth discovering or exploring for a customer who might be interested in this type of functionality. So for the second feature for today, I'm going to give the floor to you, Maïté. So go ahead.
Yeah, so for now we're going to discuss AI-assisted system security checks. The AI-assisted security checks is a new business AI functionality that checks your system security in a very simplified way. You can ask EULA just conversational questions, and it will compare your actual system configuration to SAP security recommendations so that you meet industry standards. Security checks are often very time-consuming, manual audits, spreadsheet tracking, all of that is now not necessary anymore because you can just ask EULA simple questions and it will give you a very clear overview of where certain gaps are within your security system, etc. So it would also increase your accuracy because often it's a lot of guesswork. Now EULA takes away the guesswork and it just gives you a very detailed overview of everything that you need. If you don't want a full security check, you can also ask specific questions about security topics. It will give you a guideline on how to become compliant if you are not compliant just yet. Because of this, it will be more easy to do it more often, so you don't have to be in audit mode all the time because it takes like a long time. Now you can do the checks more often, which will create continuous confidence. This feature is part of EULA's premium functionalities, and we will take a further look at an example on the next slide. So here you can see a potential prompt you can ask Joule. For example, you can ask it, tell me the system compliance status with security recommendations IBP/COM and list the non-compliant objects. Here you will get a list of all the checks that EULA did and whether or not you are compliant or non-compliant within these checks. You can see this highlighted in red or in green whether you are compliant, yes or no, which gives you a very easy overview of where you still need gaps to make sure that you meet the industry standards.
All right, thanks a lot. I think it looks very interesting from an administration point of view that you can now easily see if you are in line with what SAP is recommending. So looks quite interesting to discover for those people who already the necessary licenses on Joule's side.
Yeah. Okay,
so let's continue and let's take a look at the new introduction or the enhancement that SAP has introduced for the forecasting of new products. If we just take a general look at, okay, how does a forecasting model look or what does a forecasting model consider? So if we are talking advanced forecasting models such as gradient boosting, for example, which can consider independent variables, then generally speaking, a model looks like this. So we have an input key figure at the top that you use to basically do your statistical forecasting upon. And then at the bottom, you see a couple of independent variables that might be impacting the final result of your statistical forecast. So taking a look at the what, the how, and the why of this new enhancement with 2605, we see that with this release that SAP has boosted or has enhanced the modeling power for new product forecasting because they are now including independent variables, for example, promotion data, certain event key figures that might be relevant and that might influence your statistical forecasting. If we take a look at the difference between the previous release, so what was currently available versus what is now available, is that we see that in the past, up until 2602, so up until February, that product references were only applied to the actual sales input key figure, so the sales history that you used to do your statistical forecasting for your new product. But now, as of 2605, so as of the newest release, the product references are also applied to those independent variables that you see at the bottom of your forecasting model. How is it activated or how can you make use of it? It's quite simple. It's an activation of a global configuration parameter that steers your system, and then by default, then automatically the system or SAP will inherit the promotion data, will inherit some other forecasting inputs when conducting statistical forecasts for new products. So why would you do it or why would you consider this functionality? I think it's quite straightforward that including all the necessary information historical information from reference products will give you highly accurate forecasts from day one. So you include immediately all the necessary information. And then next to that, of course, you eliminate the need for a lot of manual data copying from an old product to another, or you eliminate the need for complex realignment projects within IBP where you need to indicate what is the origin product and what is then the consequent product. So all of this leads to a lot of time saving and also the elimination of potential errors that might occur during the manual copy. So again, it's automating, it's making it easier for users in order to come up with statistical forecasting, in this case, for these new product introductions, basically. So I think it's something to consider for customers who are using the IBP for demand license, the advanced demand planning in IBP, who are making use of these advanced functionalities and who have to deal with new product introduction throughout their processes, basically. Okay. So I'll hand it over to Maïté again for the final topic of the day. It's enhancements to the Planner Workspaces.
Yes, so the final topic of the day, Planner Workspace enhancements. Let's take a look at it. Also, this release, there are a few enhancements. The first one I'm going to discuss is the you're able to run statistical forecasting in simulations now. So just in your Planner Workspace, there is a button that has simulations on it where you can run a statistical forecast. You can choose which forecast you would like to run, and you do the run only in simulation mode, which means that no actual data is changed. You can just see the impact that certain changes would have on your forecast or on your numbers. So for example, if a planner in the Planner Workspace wants to check different input data and see what the outcome would be, he can run the simulation. Or if he wants to check whether which forecast model gives different views, you can also do it here and just change the model that you would like to test. Once again, without actually changing the data. So you just get a quick overview instantly in your Planner Workspace what the impact would be of these changes. Some additional Planner Workspace enhancements are, for starters, you can now start copying Planner Workspaces across planning areas. This was not possible before, but it is now in this release, which means that customers who, for example, have 2 active planning areas can have a Planner Workspace in one planning area and just make a copy to the other planning area, so without having to create a second one, which would be less time consuming. Another example that we think might be very interesting is that you can, for existing customers as well, you can use the best practices from SAP IBP, where you can use those Planner Workspaces and copy them into your own Planner Workspace in your active planning area. So you can use those best practices, which was not really a case before. So then the second enhancement is grouping of attributes and key figures. So now if you are changing or making a planning view within your Planner Workspace, it's a lot easier, more structured to find certain attributes and key figures that are valuable within your planning view. So you get top matches or light matches based on the settings that are currently at place in your workspace. So also for key figures, you have this option, and you can also filter more accurately on key figures that are useful for your planning view at that time. A third and last Planner Workspace enhancement that we will discuss in this video is also, like in previous releases, there were new advanced operators to have better filters within your planning view. They added another one, which is called Contains Pattern, where you can define a pattern and it will look based on the pattern within your filter criteria. So also here you can see once you click on Contains Pattern, it gives you a few structures on how you can use this, this filter.
Okay, great. I think looks like a general nice improvement again on the Planner Workspace. So
yeah.
really taking the path or continuing the path towards pushing that as the go-to planner workspace, to the go-to environment for business users to actively use the system. So thanks a lot, Maïté, for going through these topics. So as we are used to doing, we highlight the most interesting topics that we basically pick out from the latest release. We bundle them in this video. So if you want to take a look at the content of this presentation, or you want to see what has been discussed in the past, feel free to go check out our landing page where we group all these latest releases. Or next to that, if you have any further questions or any you want some more information on any of these releases or SAP IBP in general, then you can always also reach out to us via LinkedIn, via our company profile. So I think the only thing left to do for today is to thank you all for watching, and then we hope to welcome you in the next video. So thank you and bye-bye.
See you next time.